LiveCycle scripting environment, and I'm going to try and cover the most commonly requested scripting features for LiveCycle documents. This is scripting by itself in LiveCycle is a very large topic, and we have a lot to cover in a short period of time, so let's jump right in. I'll bring up the LiveCycle Designer tool. Okay, here it is. This is the LiveCycle Designer program. It ships in the box with Acrobat 7 and Acrobat 8, but it is a completely separate program. It's a program designed specifically for creating LiveCycle forms, which are XML-based, and that's why we need a separate tool, because the LiveCycle forms are really an XML form wrapped inside of a PDF. And that'll become a little bit more clear as I progress through the presentation. LiveCycle Designer is composed of a set of windows, where each window is a different design tool. This is the window layout that I like and what I think is the best layout for scripting. So let's start right off by creating a new document. Now click on the New Document button up on the left-hand corner, and you can see that the main window right here in the middle sort of comes alive and displays a set of tabs. Now you may not get the exact same tabs that I have, but you will have the design view. Most people will have a Master Pages tab. Because we're doing scripting, I have that tab turned off. The Master Pages tab is important for form design, but it's not important for scripting. We also have an XML Source View tab, and this makes the LiveCycle Designer very much like a web design tool, where you have a WYSIWYG design view and an underlying source view. So let's just click on the source view to take a look at it real quick. Typically, you're not going to be editing the XML source. That's more of an advanced or expert kind of thing to do. But it's instructive to look at it. It gives you a feel for the structure of the form, which again will become clearer as we move through the presentation. At the very top, you'll see a node called Template. And that's because when we're using LiveCycle Designer, what we're creating is a form template. We're not creating the actual runtime form that the user sees. The runtime form is created when the template is loaded into Acrobat. Another thing to notice is right underneath template is the very top of our form hierarchy. You'll see that it's a subform named Form 1, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So enough of the XML source for right now. That's, like I said, that's more of an advanced topic. So let's take a look at more of these design windows. The one here over on the left, the Library tab, is probably one that everyone is familiar with. It contains all the elements that we can drag and drop and place onto our design view. Underneath that are a list of tabs, or a set of tabs here, that represent the properties of elements on the form. And so all we have to do is click on an element on the form, and the properties are displayed over here in these tabs. And we'll be using these a lot during the scripting exercises. On the left-hand side is the Hierarchy window. This is probably my favorite window for scripting, or probably the most important window for scripting, because it tells us the relationship between elements on the form, and this is something we have to know when we're writing the scripts. And so everything that's in this window is very important. I use the hierarchy window a lot. If you look on the very top, I'll close it all up so that you can see it very clearly, isn't the very top node's called Form 1. And if you remember from the XML source view, this was the top node that was shown in the XML source. So we have this parallel between the XML hierarchy of the document, the underlying XML structure, what's shown in the hierarchy window, which is the form elements hierarchy. And as we'll see in a little bit here, it also parallels the scripting hierarchy. So all of these things all parallel each other. And that's very important. We have to keep that in mind when we're scripting, and in particular when we're building dynamic documents. So let's take a look at what's underneath Form 1. The very first node is called Master Pages. Like I said before, Master Pages are important for design. They're not important for scripting, so I'm going to keep this node closed at all times. Underneath that, and I hope that you can see this on your screen, is an element called the Untitled Subform with a little piece of text over here that says Page 1. A subform is a container element in a LiveCycle form that holds all of the other elements. That can hold other subforms, which have more elements inside of them. This particular one represents the top of our kind of layout hierarchy, and every element that we place on this document or on this form is going to be placed inside of this untitled subform. And I'm not going to leave it untitled. Unnamed forms or unnamed elements are a bane to scripting. In scripting, we want everything to have